Welcome to Hidden Battles, Destigmatizing Mental Illness, a weekly podcast where passionate advocates of mental health converge to illuminate unseen struggles faced by millions. Join Jeromie, Terrell, and Lorraine as they delve into candid conversations about stigmas, cultural risk, values, intersectionality, and mental health. Hear from mental health professionals and those diagnosed with a mental illness. Together, they put on the table the things people think about but are afraid to talk about. Get ready to embark on an insightful journey.
Listen weekly on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcast, and subscribe, like, and please share with family and friends that can benefit. See you on the journey.
Jeromie Luginbill here again, third episode. This episode we're going to talk about, last episode rather, we talked about, mission. We talked about developing what the mission is, what does the mission mean to us. We did some brainstorming. It took a little while to get it come together. But this episode we'll be talking about our vision, what do we actually see have happen. For the viewers, these parts might be a little bit boring, but again, bring this back to the family, create a mission, vision, and values within your family, so that when you're teaching your children or yourself, what base do you have to operate from?
Right.
You're operating from a basis of mission, vision, and values. Values, there's 1,000 long. So like when we get to the values on the fourth episode, we'll talk about those kind of things, and we'll put some behaviors, which are important with values, because we can say whatever we want and make it sound pretty, but we want at least 3 behaviors associated with that value. But for the purposes of our vision, it's really important to say what we see have happening. And I think, Lorraine, you kind of quantified it before the start of the show, was like, what do we see have happening in the next 5 to 10 years? And I think that, I don't really have anything planned or pre-programmed to say about our vision. Have you all thought about it at all? Or do you have any initial ideas on a vision or brainstorming?
The vision, I guess, we talked about advocacy going under values, but with our vision is support. I see support, family to family support. And just giving that type of information, connecting the families, hearing those stories from the families. Here's our vision, sharing that to the masses.
So when I think of vision, I'm thinking about the outlook, what you're seeing in the future in terms of being able to realistically see how that vision can invoke actual change. That's pretty big, Jeromie. Are we talk because vision is an elephant.
Right.
So, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So what bites from this elephant are we going to take to get us down to the ultimate purpose or rationale behind the type of vision we're looking at?
Well, I'm kind of starting to formulate some thoughts here, and then let me know what you all think. But when we're talking about destigmatizing or deconstructing the barriers that are in our way, regardless of the status of intersectionality and all of those characteristics that might be part of our lives that cause disproportionate effects, the vision would be that. I mean, I would say that, like, I'm just throwing this out there. Please don't bite on it just because I'm saying it. But we see a vision of people discerning truth and deconstructing and rebuilding purpose. Something along those lines of, like, people are able to deconstruct who they are and say, I need to start over. And we could do this 10 times in our lives. Right. We can do this 30 times in our lives. We can do it one time in our life. Like, how do we reevaluate regularly what our intents are what our purpose is, what do we want to have happen, what do we want for our children, what do we want our children to know. And I think in the end, what we would want our children to know is how to repurpose. Anything can happen in life.
Right.
And is your purpose based on intersectionality status? If you're basing purpose based on race, based on sexuality, based on ability, based on financial status, based on gender, you're externalizing your happiness to events that you have no control over. But if you can create a purpose, mission, and vision that allows you to pull you through those times when you're scared to move forward, when you need to lean into hard conversation or hard events. You know, we don't grow unless we stretch. And by stretching, I mean, you know, for me, you may not think it, but publicly speaking is difficult for me. So how do I grow? I can't grow by doing the most comfortable thing I love to do. I have to push. And so one of the things that might happen to a hardcore Democrat or a hardcore Republican or a hardcore religion or a hardcore whatever is to say, is this truly what I want? Or has it been propaganda through these powerful complexes that have taught me and trained me through sound bites of TikToks or whatever that this is where I need to be, you know? And so I for my vision of what I'm thinking is like, how do we get a person to be able to say, okay, this is who I am. Why am I that way? Am I that way because these are my true beliefs and my true values? It's my mission. It's my, you know, everything. Because we know people come into conflict with their religion or come into conflict with their party, political party, or even marriage, or whether or not they want children, or whatever the issue might be, and being able to say, okay, am I just on a bandwagon, or is this truly, truly in the depths of my soul something that I want to support? So then we talk about a vision, and what's our vision? What do we see people doing as a result of our podcast? And on some level, if we're saying destigmatizing mental illness, that kind of incorporates the mission and the vision.
Right. So, yeah. So, you know, rebuilding purpose, reevaluating. So what we're wanting our audience to contemplate is who they really are. You know, who am I? What is my real purpose? What are my goals and objectives? And based upon that, how much of who I am really represents who I am and where I really want to go?
Sure.
What's keeping me from getting out of the mud? Why am I stuck? There's got to be a reason why. So I need to reevaluate what I think my vision is in order for me to feel better about myself. So am I willing to do the difficult thing and move out of this neighborhood, change a job, end a relationship with someone, so that I can be 100% comfortable with what I think my purpose is, and then everything from that point on is geared in that direction.
Right. And were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, because you talked about purpose. Now we're getting into really happiness. You know, what makes that individual happy? What makes that person happy? Re-evaluating your life. Is it matching up with your values? Is it matching up with your goals, your short-term goals or your long-term goals? Are you happy? Meaning, are you comfortable with who you are?
Right.
Are you looking yourself in the mirror and you're hating what you see? So again, it's reevaluating self-evaluation. And then finding that purpose. And a lot of that purpose is found in those things that you're passionate and that makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, is doing those things that feel good to you, that you enjoy doing, you know, that makes you happy. That's what it's about. Who wants to live, you know, a lifelong misery, down a long road of misery.
Sure.
So it's about being comfortable with self.
Right.
And you can't really make other people happy or find other people's purpose. It's within.
To add to that, I think that what happens when we look at the way that the world experiences media, especially in politics, especially in such and such, religion could be one, work could be one. The part that has always bothered me about America's greatest heroes is that you have haters coming along and always finding the dirt to try to discount the work of the individual. And sometimes it's the character defects that energize purpose, that we know we are human, that we know we might be lustful or vengeful or, jealous or whatever, you want to, however you want to say it. So I think part of when we're talking about deconstructing or rebuilding, what we're talking about is doing a character analysis. Like, what areas are our weakness? Like, where are our defaults? Where are our sins or our mistakes? And how do we come to a place where we have been actualized and say, okay, you know what? I am a part of a larger group of beings that make mistakes, that we're going to do some dumb shit, like drop a bear off in New York City and do some stuff. But then why is it automatically discounting all of the good?
Hidden Battles, Destigmatizing Mental Illness podcast.